What do you do in a week where you've kind of run out of time to do real content? Well, you catch up on all these tag videos. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another tag video. Now, yes, I don't really do this very much, but it would be very uncouth of me to say, hey, no one ever tags me in these things, and then just ignore them when they actually happen, right? So I'm going to do a couple of them, starting with this one by my main man, Alan, from Library of Allenxandria. He tagged me in one, saying because I accused him of never tagging me. That was the last tag video that I did, was one that he did, and I called it the Alan Didn't Tag Me tag, just because I thought it was a great topic to do. And with this one, I really don't even know what these questions are. I think this was a part 2 actually on his channel, but he did tag me. I copied and pasted the questions and just put them on here. I haven't even read them through yet because I think that would be the best way to get the best answers out of me. However, the downside of that is you'll have to deal with me going, I'm not sure. So, hey, this is the business we've chosen. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Number 1, what is your channel about? Well, I started off just saying it was for all things horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, right? And I still think that's pretty much what it is. I will kind of step out of that comfort zone every once in a while, try some new things. But really my whole message was discussion. I wanted us to be able to talk. I felt like as a people, we had gotten away from being able to, talk to each other without just like trying to rip each other's head off. It's really turned into a agree with me or die kind of thing, or worse. It's just gotten kind of really ugly out there. So I said I want to kind of open this as this welcoming and inviting community where people can come and just talk about these things. And hey, you know what? If we disagree on that book, let's talk about it. We can still be pals, tomorrow. That's kind of what I want to get across, and just making it a place that feels welcoming for everyone. I like to think almost 3 years in now that I have done that. So I'm very, very happy. Number 2, how old are you? Old enough. I am 43 years old. Feel younger than I did 30 because I did change my eating habits and things like that. It makes you feel a lot younger. But I won't lie. There are days where I'm going up them stairs. I'm like, why did we buy a house with a second story? What were we thinking, right? But yeah, 43. But I know that the BookTube is really a kind of a young person's game right now, but I like to think I provide that niche for people like me out there who can still have no problems talking with younger folks and have no problems welcoming the older folks, and of course people my own age. I like to be welcoming for all. Like I said, number 3, what is your relationship status? Yes, I've been married for 11 years. Been with my spouse for since 2007, so like 100 years, I think, at least. Still, she still puts up with me, and she puts up with me doing this stuff when there's other stuff that she probably would like me to be doing. But you know what? We all have our hobbies and things like that. She has hers, and there's some that she does that I'm not fond of. But hey, that's marriage, guys. You find a way to make it work, right? And we are 11 years in, and no end in sight. So there it is. Number 4, did you go to college? And what is your occupation? I did go to college. I went back actually much younger than everyone else, or much older than everyone else, rather. I went right after high school. I was refused to take student loans because I was always financially conscious. And I refused. I was like, I'm not going to pay those kind of fees at a later date, because it's just a rip. It's a racket. And so I tried to do it myself while working at the same time, and just it was not working out. So I did a semester, dropped out, said I would go back, tried again about 8 years later, lasted a semester, and just said, nah, I like working too much. And I didn't go back until it was one of those things where I was putting it off all the time. Well, maybe after the wedding. Then it was after the kid's born. Then after the second kid's born. Finally, one day I was like, look, I'm 38 years old. I have an employer that will pay for you to go to school as long as you get good grades. That's how it works. And, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So talked to my wife. We did have a newborn kid at the time. And I was like, it's going to be a lot of nights where I'm like, you got to take care of this because I'm going to have to study and stuff. And she agreed. And so, I graduated, at my bachelor's at 42 years old. And, here we are, So it's never too late, guys. That's what I always say. Now they have these things where you can do it 100% online. I did left the workforce, did the stay-at-home dad and full-time school thing for, a couple of years there. So it was a very, very exciting thing, and I've just kind of wound up back in finance, which is where I was before I went back to school, but with a company now where I have the opportunity to expand into other roles. I'm interested in HR, maybe marketing. I mean, obviously, you see this channel. I do have a minor in marketing and thought, I could be really good at corporate communications, I think. So we'll see what happens there. It's always evolving with the company I'm with right now. Number 5, where are you from/live? Well, I'm originally from Atlanta. Lived there until I was 15, so I've been in Houston since since 1993. My mom her sister had gotten cancer. She wanted to come out here and be closer to her. I was like, look, I got friends and stuff I've had since the beginning of my life, but you know what? Hey, the best time to make a clean break and a fresh start like that is right as you enter high school, and it worked out great because now I would never, ever leave Texas. I love it here. I think it's fabulous. I love the warm weather. I know a lot of people complain about being too hot here. Well, I'm like, well, you moved closer to the equator. What did you expect to happen? But yes, I do love it here. I think Texas is one of the it's like a whole other country, guys. We'll just leave it at that. But I do love it here, and I will never, ever leave. Number 6, looking back, what would you have told your 10-year-old self? I think maybe it gets better. Not going to get into like a sob story or anything like that, but rough childhood, very lonely childhood. I think you'd say dysfunctional family. Dad wasn't really in the picture. Parents got divorced when I was 5. And Dad was kind of those things that didn't really want kids, because it's kind of that thing. It was something that took me a long time to accept, really. And me and my dad got on great terms later in life. But childhood was pretty rough that way. I had a brother that was 6 years older than me. We didn't get along about anything, and Mom was always working. So, it was a very, very lonely childhood. So I think that that's where I ended up burying my nose in books all the time. That was the peak entertainment for me at that age. So there's the good to go along with the bad. But yeah, I think just it gets better. Number 7, tell us about your family. Well, I have 2 kids, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, both boys. I have an older brother, as I just mentioned, and my mom. She still lives in Atlanta, so is my brother. My dad passed away in 2017. That's pretty much it. Not a lot of extended family going on here. Now my wife, she has all the extended family that's here and stuff, so there's a lot more action going on in that department. But nothing really exciting to tell. We're just your regular old nuclear family, I guess you'd call it, and I'm fine with it. We got a dog too. We got a dog, a black lab. He's 4, and he shit all over the floor today because he got sick. How about that? That's a great thing to come home to. Number 8, what's your favorite holiday? It's without a doubt, it's Halloween. I love the idea that you get to dress up and be somebody different for a day, especially now that you have kids, and you get to experience that through their eyes and see how much it is just a magical holiday. It is still really much to them. I think we get older and we get jaded in these things. We're like, oh, it's not magical like it was when I was a kid. Well, look at it through your kids' eyes. It's still very much magical, and it's a great time. And it's the only time of the year that I get my wife to watch scary movies, so I am always on board for the Halloween season. Number 9, you have no budget. What is your dream vacation? That's a good one. I think maybe ancient Egypt. Not ancient Egypt, but just Egypt. I'd like to see the Great Pyramids because I've always been fascinated with ancient Egypt. I don't even know if that's like tourist friendly or anything. I've never really researched it because I didn't ever think it was a trip I would get to make. So I don't even know if that's like a thing. But yeah, I would absolutely love to see the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids and all that stuff with my own eyes. That'd be great. What is number 10? Name your biggest pet peeves. Guess I got to keep it book related here because that's mostly what most of my peeves pop up from. I think people who judge a book off of one line that they heard or based off of something else that someone heard. Like all the time, I'll review a book and I'll tell people, look, it didn't work for me, but I would like you to, check it out for yourself, make your own decision. Don't base what you're going to read based off of what I said about it. I'll tell you some things I think might not work for you, and if you want to use that, sure. But if I say, I didn't like that book, I don't want to be being like, oh, well, I was going to read it before you said you didn't like it. I'd never have been that guy. So I would never do that. So I get a lot of comments about, like, for example, right now I'm reading Jay Kristoff, and I had someone say they were not interested in reading it because of this one line that they sort of heard, and then they quoted the line. It was all wrong. It wasn't exactly how it was. It was taken completely out of context. That, or like I said, some bigger booktubers than me say that they absolutely hate a book, so someone won't pick it up, and I hate that because there's some great series out there that I think some other channels have really took a shit on, and it's detracted people from reading it, and that drives me crazy as a content creator. Number 11, what is the book that changed your life? If you've watched this channel at all, you know the answer to that is Dune by the late great Frank Herbert. You might have seen that movie recently. Well, half of it at least, half of that story rather. But yeah, Dune, without a doubt. I've talked about it on the channel about how that actually affected my life. I know a lot of people will say times, oh yeah, that book was great, changed my life, and you ask them why, like, I don't know. I can tell you all about it, but I have already done it for 10 minutes at the end of that why you should read Dune video. But yeah, again, it's just a book that was instrumental to my life as a not very confident 15-year-old kid in a new town. It really did help me get through a lot of things, and yeah, a lot of things I saw of myself being the same age of the protagonist in that story, being plucked from his home and moving to a new place, kind of deal, and dealing with responsibilities. And yeah, it's a book that will always, right here, I'll always have something for it. What is it? Number 12. What simple invention improved the world? I want to go like really smart, say something like the microwave, because obviously it did. I'm gonna go with the TiVo. I think when I first got a TiVo, that changed everything, because I think of all the time I used to waste watching commercials. I would actually like schedule, okay, commercials on. This is where you go like do some chores or something real fast, which was obviously probably better for us, for getting things done. But yeah, so much time was saved by doing that. That's where I actually first started getting into binge watching. I would let 3 or 4 or 5 episodes just gather up on the TiVo and watch them later. So yeah, I gotta say the TiVo really did. Even though I don't watch as much TV now as I used to, and we have things like Netflix and stuff like that we can do, the binge watches on. The TiVo, when it came out, man, that was second to none. 13. What are some of your favorite movies and TV shows? Now that's a vast question. I guess I got to kind of try to narrow it down here. My favorite movie of all time, like gun to my head, you got to pick one. I'd probably be one of 3 here. I'll go with either Gone with the Wind, The Empire Strikes Back, or Fellowship of the Ring. I think those are probably the 3 movies I watched the most. And then I start getting into, well, what about Raiders of the Lost Ark? What about Back to the Future? I mean, these are some of my favorite movies of all time here. So that's a really tough question. A lot easier for me on TV. I have lots of TV shows that I enjoy, but one that will always be above the rest for me is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer for me was... I don't want to relate it to Stephen King in this way, but something I've always said that I loved about Stephen King was that he understands how kids talk. And when you have older authors and they'll have kids talk, it's nothing like kids talk to each other. Like they all make them sound like they're the kids from Dawson's Creek, and guys, that is not how kids talk to each other, at least not in my neck of the woods. So I always appreciate that with Buffy, is that Joss Whedon was able to nail exactly how us teenagers were talking, because I was the same age as the kids on that show when it came out. So I was able to relate to that really well. The snappy, witty dialogue always made it stuck, but then you got into your heavier themes that show has. Guys, it isn't just some corny, CW show. I know that's what people like to look at it as, but it's like, if you are a fan of Dresden Files, if you are a fan of like Hellblazer, the comic, Buffy is everything that you're looking for, and it took those tropes and it turned them up on their head. The blonde cheerleader that gets killed in the first episode, she's the one that the vampires are scared of, so she is she's the monster. I love that's just a great show and wonderfully written, and the spinoff Angel is every bit as good as the years went by. So I'll always love those shows to death. 14, describe yourself using 3 fictional characters. Oh my God, 3 of them? I always go back to, for as far as my childhood goes, Ben Hanscom from It, because I was the chubby kid. I got picked on for being the chubby kid a lot when I was younger, and also he's the kid in a new town trying to make new friends. That's always something that was going to resonate with me. But as far as after that, maybe Elend from Mistborn, and I think that's just because he has that uncanny ability to read a book anywhere, and I think I can do that as well. People all the time be like, how can you just open up your Kindle and just start reading no matter where you're at? It's a talent, I guess. I don't know. It's weird because I sometimes I can't block out I guess it depends on how heavy of a book you're reading. Like Malazan, I got to have just quiet. It's got to be quiet, and I've got to focus on it, and hear no interruptions. But I can pop out a Dresden Files book, like I said, and just read it in the middle of a rock concert and be fine. Not that I would do that. I'm not that uncool. And lastly, dang, it's hard. I never do good at questions like this because you always want to start naming your favorite characters, but ones that kind of describe yourself? Maybe Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter, because you're always like, you could have been the chosen one. You could have been, or you're pretty good, but you're not as good as like this thing. Like I get a lot. You're my second favorite YouTuber behind blank. Things like that. So maybe that might be a little self-deprecating, but I always saw a little bit of that in Neville, the interesting home life, and then as well as just always being like, well, you could have been something special, but you missed it. Day late, dollar short. So maybe 15. What's your dream job? I used to be a sports journalist. I used to do freelance sports writing a lot. And that was right before journalism kind of went the way the dodo, which it just went to kind of like clickbait, slideshows, all that kind of stuff, and just looking for reaction. No, I wanted to like become a beat writer for like a sports team and travel with the team and write about the team and stuff like that. And I think that journalism just kind of, I could tell it was going a way I didn't want to go. So I got out of that. Now, you ask me now, because after that I started really getting into podcasting and I wanted to work in radio. But radio is just, it's run by Clear Channel. It's just so cutthroat. People weren't keeping their jobs longer than like 2 months if the ratings dipped below a certain amount. So I said, I think for me, my dream job as of now would be like Audible, recording audiobooks. Can't listen to them, but I'd love to record them. If you listen to any of those intros I do before my big book reviews, I would love to do that. Like I said, when I read to my kids, I use all the voices and stuff. It's just something I find a lot of fun, and I think I'd be pretty good at it. I don't know. So Audible, give me a call, please. 16. If magic was real, what spell would you learn first? God, it's always easy to go with flight or invisibility. I think I'd go teleportation. Because, guys, I live in Houston, and the one thing I don't love about Texas is the traffic. We're a city of 7 million people. It's going to be some traffic. Teleportation would be great. Never be late to work. You can visit your friends halfway across the world. That'd be amazing, right? So teleportation, definitely, without a doubt. You never be late for anything. And I'm one of those people who hates being late. Hate it. I'm always 5 minutes early. I know some people find that annoying. I'd rather be early than late every single time. So, yeah, teleportation. 17. Share a favorite childhood memory. Well, that's vast. Kind of think about for a bit. Okay, I know I said rough childhood, things like that. So it's easy to think about some days that were like the best day kind of thing. And I think the one for me was like after my parents had divorced, and we'd see my dad like every 2 weeks or whatever. And I won't lie, a lot of times it felt like he was just going through the motions. It was just a chore for him. But even though like there was dysfunction there, me and my dad couldn't talk about anything. Me and my brother couldn't talk about anything except one. We could talk about Star Wars. We could always talk about Star Wars. Star Wars was the common denominator that we were all able to get on the same page and talk like best friends over. So I remember when Return of the Jedi came out, I was 5, and he took us to go see Return of the Jedi at the movie theater, and then we went we went and did like some remote control cars or something silly like that, something that boys would be into, and then we got dinner, and he's like, oh, do you guys want to do anything else? And we're like, can we go see Return of the Jedi again? And he took us. So I think, yeah, as a kid, that was probably one of the best days because it had been less than a year since my parents had divorced, and so it really just felt special for the first time in a while, and it was a very, very rough thing to go through at 5, and a brother that you didn't really get along with, so it was it's easy to think of times like that. Number 18, what is your favorite social media platform and why? Now, I won't lie, guys, I do not like social media. I think it's just gotten so negative. So Facebook, Instagram, I use really for marketing, but I would have to say Discord by default, because Discord, I can implement rules, and I can use the good old golden rule of no political discussion, no politics, no religion, none of that stuff. And it is amazing that one rule has made that community basically like a utopian society. Everyone gets along. It's great. So I think I read a lot, but I think I'd read even more if I didn't spend so much time on Discord talking to just such awesome quality people that I would consider, my friends at this point, really the people that I've become quite close with, even though we've never met and probably never will meet. And that's why we need teleportation, guys. 19, if you could pick any book character, who would you spend the day with? Probably one of the hobbits, so I could eat 6 times a day and be guilt-free about it. Those guys, they're constantly loaded too. You think about it, they're drinking beer like nonstop. I think, a hobbit. I think that'd be a good day to just be a glutton and have a good old time with it, and smoke some pipes and stuff. Number 20, what is your spirit animal? think maybe a lion. I'm a Leo. I loved the Chronicles of Narnia as a kid and thought Aslan was just the coolest. And part of that might have been because of the Leo thing. I don't get real too much into the astrology thing, but I've always been partial to lions. And you know what? The thing about that, the astrology stuff, is like I used to think that was all just hubbaloo. And then I actually like looked some stuff up. I'm like, every one of my ex-girlfriends are like my extreme negative sign. How about that? It works if you want to, but I think it's one of those things if you're looking for it. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. 21, what is the old person thing that you do? Which one? Probably the day I realized it was my parents was when I was walking around the house complaining how no one ever turns any lights off when they're not in that room. And I do that constantly and frequently and all day. And I think I did it right before I started this video. So yeah, that's my get off the lawn thing. 22, do you have a hidden talent? I think this, being able to talk like this on camera. Because no one outside of you guys knows that I do this. You know, no one at my job knows that I do this or cares, I don't think. Pretty much no one that I don't know in real life or, you know, a viewer is going to know that I do this or do it, I think, well, you know. So, yeah, this one. But I think I'd probably have to say karaoke. Karaoke, I'm a big-time karaoke fiend. I absolutely love karaoke. We do it here at the house. You know, we got the whole setup downstairs now where I can just plug and play, and boom, we're karaokeing. Got the kids interested in doing it now. And I think that that's a big thing, guys. If you can sing in front of someone, you can really bare your soul in front of complete strangers, you can do this and talk on a camera with no problem. And I think that's why I have no problem speaking in front of large audiences, you know, because, again, you can sing in front of somebody, you can talk in front of them with no problem. 23, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I only get more ambitious as I get older, so I do see myself being a bit more, having a little bit more responsibility at my current job because it's a great company and it has lots of room for growth, and I'm confident that I'll still be there, and I'm confident that I'll be doing a lot more than I do right now. And I think that means that I'm going to be doing less of this right here. So let's just enjoy this while we have it, I think. You know, I'll just put it that way. 24, share an item and tell us its significance. I guess I got to look around the room. How about this? I always say I can talk about a coffee mug, you know, with no prompting. When I first went back to school, this is for Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas, just outside of Houston. When I first went back to school, it was a big decision, and it was really weird because I felt like that was the kind of time when you realize that like you have no good support system in your real life friends, you know, because I was like, no one gave a shit. Everyone else could be like, hey, I tried the new Whataburger for the first time today, and people are like, that's amazing. Oh, tell me about your experience. I tell them, hey, I'm making a major life change. I'm going back to school. And no one gave a shit, you know. It's one of those things like big boy. I didn't need like a pat on the back, but I've been like, wow, you know. Would have been just like cool if like some of my best friends had been like, hey man, I'm proud of you. You know, I think that's a really great step, like I would do for them, kind of thing. No one said anything except the wife of a friend of mine. He was encouraging about it, and his wife went to Sam Houston. She was so encouraged about me going back to school at that age that she sent me this. She sent me this mug the next day, and I thought that was just the kindest gesture ever. And yeah, I will always remember that. Now tag some people. Okay, well, I gotta say Madison because she's my partner in crime and she's always telling me she wants some more content on her channel. So I know she's out of town, but I think she just got back. So maybe she'll have time to do one of these. And we're doing a Wheel of Time thing here this weekend, I think. And how about Diana in the Nook? Because I love her to death. She's a sweetheart. And I'm reading the Nevernight books right now that she sent to me. So she's been on my mind. And I hope you guys will check out her channel. I'll link it below. And how about let's go off the grid here a little bit. Guys, I know these tag videos, it seems like everybody kind of passes them around between like the same 10 people. So I'm going to try to change it up a little bit here. And I'm going to do this one because I feel like he's a type that will think he's too cool to do something like this. I'm talking about my man, Christopher Rocchio, author of the Sun Eater saga. And he's got a new book coming out soon. So what better way to advertise this book coming out than to find a way to answer every one of these questions about his new book coming out. So Christopher, I'm throwing down the gauntlet, man. Do it. Let's see if you got it in you. So guys, that was the tag. I want to thank Alan for tagging me with this. And I hope you guys didn't fall asleep. I hope a lot of my personal stories didn't bother you too much. But hey, you know what? I have nothing to hide about my life. So there it is, guys. So you guys want to copy and paste pasties and put your answers below. I'd love to read them. I would love that. I think that's a great time. So drop in the comments, guys, and I will talk to you on my next tag video that I'm doing for Andrew's Wizardly Reads sometime probably this weekend.